My name is Gerasimos Makris. I'm an anthropologist. I've done work in the Sudan, especially on the Zar complex of practices. Now, Zar is a spirit possession cult, and it comes in different versions in the Sudan. When I worked in Omdurman, outside Omdurman, there were two main versions. It was Bore and Tumbura. Now, Zar is a family of spirits, and one could say that they are neither good nor bad. I mean, they are amoral spirits, and they attack people. From what we see, they mainly attack women, and when the people are possessed, they get ill. So they have to visit a sheikh that is a religious specialist who would then treat them and introduce them, initiate them into the groups. There will stay forever. The illness that Zar produces is of various intensity, and it takes many forms. It may be kind of headache, it may be insomnia or bad dreams, it may be paralysis, all sorts of things which are not considered to be related to well-known diseases like, typhoid or malaria or things like that, and they can be ameliorated only through the appeasement of the spirits. The spirits, and this is the important thing I think that we have to remember here, is that the spirit never leaves the patient. I mean, the spirit remains in a sense inside the patient, but as they say, it sleeps for quite some time. Perhaps at a later stage, the spirit comes alive again, and then a new series of celebrations should be organized. So that means that being a Zar devotee is an affair that lasts until the person's death, really. Now, here there are various methods. The sheikh does use divination. That is, the person who's ill gives the sheikh a part of his or her clothing, and the sheikh puts it under the pillow, and then she sleeps for 7 days, and during these 7 days she sees a dream, she sees the spirit in the dream. Also, the sheikh offers incense, bakhur, to the patient, and if the patient reacts, it means that the bakhur that is related to a particular spirit, because there are various sorts of spirits, so if the patient reacts to this particular bakhur, it means that the patient is possessed by this particular spirit. Now, after that, after this divination process, we have the organization of a ceremony. This is a ritual which may last 3 to 7 days. During this period, all the members of the group come together, and there is drumming of the clay tambourines, and there was music, and there is also songs, and all these songs supposedly stimulate the possessing spirits. As I said earlier, there are different types of spirits which are broadly related to the experience, the historical experience of the Sudanese people. So, for example, we have the Khawajat spirits, which are spirits of European origin, and they possess certain people. We have spirits from the south, where there are people they represent people from the tribes of the south. There could be the Nyam Nyam, as we call them, or that is the Azande, or the Nur. There are spirits called the Bashawat, and they represent the Turco-Egyptian Bashas, and so on and so forth. So in the context of the ritual, each spirit family is called to reveal itself through music. So when, for example, I am possessed by the Tsar spirits of the Khawajat, of the Europeans, then I listen to the songs which correspond, let's say, to my spiritual entity, and I start shaking, I start dancing, I get in trance, I get ecstatic. In that sense, one could argue that that ecstasy itself is therapeutic. But at the same time, within the context of the ritual, there are offerings to the spirits. I mean, different spirits demand different things. Let me give you two examples again, just to make this plain. The Khawajat spirits, because they're European spirits, they may demand tobacco, they may demand black sunglasses, or they may demand a kind of European type of hat. Now, when you have spirits of the coming from the southern Sudan, that is tribal spirits, they may demand a spear, or they may demand something else that is broadly associated with the culture which the spirit, let us say, stereotypically represents. There are also spirits, and this is very interesting, there are also spirits which can be identified as the very external experiences of that have impinged on the Sudanese, like, for example, Ethiopian spirits. We all know that the Ethiopian presence has been considerable in the Sudan. There are, thousands of people from Ethiopia. So there you have the Habashi spirits. But also you have spirits which are much more, how shall I put it, Islamic than others. For example, we have the spirit of Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, the famous leader of the Qadiriya Sufi brotherhood, one of the biggest brotherhoods in the Sudan. And so the Sheikh may ask for a white jalabiya. Now, when everything is said and done, the persons that is, the persons who are to be initiated through this ritual into the cult, they have to sacrifice an animal. They sacrifice the animal in the name of either Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, whom I mentioned earlier, either Bilal, who was the first Muaddin in Islam, either various spirits. And the animal is sacrificed following all the rules of a Muslim sacrifice. That is, it's a man who sacrifices it. It has to fall down facing towards Mecca, and all this stuff. So, what does all this mean, really? It means that people who, for various reasons, have problems which are either psychological or what we sometimes call psychosomatic problems enter into a new environment, which is a supportive environment. Is the environment of the Zar group. They have their sheikha, they have people who have similar problems, people who have been treated successfully by the sheikha. So that means that all these people, be they men or women, have in a sense a common language idiom. They can talk about their common problems. For example, a very important colleague of mine, Janice Body, in one of her books, writes about the problem of infertility amongst women. So this, in a sense, can be talked about in the context of Zar. She talks about the experience, the historical experience, which is part and parcel of the life of the people who take part in Zar, or the life of the communities as a whole. So from my point of view, and from what I have seen in Omdurman, among the people I worked with, Zar, and especially the Zar songs, represent a kind of archive, a historical archive. They talk about the historical experience of people. It is a medium which allows people to talk about themselves, about their life, about their past. And considering the fact that, at least in the case where I worked, many of these people are of lower social status. Some of them are descendants of slaves. Some others are refugees or migrants from the south and the west to the north. So we're talking about very poor people who really do not have easily the opportunity to talk about their experience in their everyday life. So the context of the cult offers them this opportunity to talk about it, to say who they are, to present, even I could go as far as saying to construct a positive self-identity.